So now I'm going to introduce to you one of my favorite women in the whole world and a great role model for all Irish women, young and old, and men can follow her too. The Consul General of Ireland, Barbara Jones.
I think this could rapidly end up being a mutual admiration society, Kathy, for your leadership, to all of the board, for your leadership and support, for what really, you're so right when you say this is going to be an absolutely turning point weekend for all of us. And what I hope at the end of it is that, first of all, we all know each other a lot better, and I hope that sense of the hallmark of the community here is this really strong community spirit and pride in our heritage as Irish Americans. That sense of our Americanness completes our Irishness and our Irishness completes our Americanness. I hope we all feel that. And I think also, and I would put my money on this, I think we will all leave the process of the weekend with a greater understanding of the important role of historians in our society, and particularly in our community, our Irish American community. We are blessed with many things, and one of the things I think this year, and I'm looking at Pierce here and Liz and the group of people who led the 2016 commemorations in Philadelphia on the 24th of April, and I think what the journey of commemoration this year, including this weekend, is pointing to is the need for us to confront or to have explained to us the complexity of our history, and to not to be afraid of the complexity. And I think the work here in Philadelphia, including this weekend, the work that was done around the commemoration of 2016, is pointing to a great appreciation of the role which historians, historiography, and places of learning, such as Villanova University, Quinnipiac University, University of Pennsylvania, and the great schools around here, have to make to our understanding as a community of who we are and what our values are. And I really, really think that this is a splendid opportunity for us to reflect on that. And of course, I don't believe, as Consul General of Ireland, that we do that looking over our shoulder into the past in a way that distracts us from what it is that we need to do as a community. I think history, in reflecting on it, it helps us to predict or to project our trajectory into the future even better. For example, as an Irish diplomat, our remembering of the 150th anniversary of the Great Hunger led us as a government system to focus in our foreign policy on the very theme, the very challenge of hunger in our day as a #1 policy priority of our development aid programme. We devote about $750 million a year to our development aid programme in order to support the poorest of the poor countries. And you could do lots of things. Obviously, you could do water, you could do environmental, you could do human rights, and our focus is on hunger. And why is that? That's because in remembering this story of the injustice that the Irish people faced of starvation and hunger and disease, as somebody says, a catastrophe of a potato crop failure became the defining social and economic and existential catastrophe in Irish history. So the memory of the 150th anniversary drove Irish foreign policy into a new direction to focus on hunger. I'm very proud of that. The right to food, the right to clean water, all of those things. So as I say, in remembering, I think it gives us a great hope and a sense of where do our values today come from. It comes from remembering that injustice. And what do we focus on? We focus in our aid programme on the relief of hunger. Now, just a thought, I suppose, as a woman diplomat who has spent a lot of my time focused on British-Irish relations in the context of the peace process. It is true that any reflection on this period shows how the Liberal government in Britain at the time completely failed Ireland. And it is true that that is a very, very dark moment in the dark chapter of the relationship between Britain and Ireland historically. But we reflect now and remember that in our own lifetimes we've made huge progress with the British government to bring peace to Northern Ireland, and we look to the future, as I say, in remembering. We don't ignore all the wrongs that were done, but we continue to work on current problems, continuing to support peace and reconciliation in Ireland. And I do admire, I know there are many controversies about Prime Minister Tony Blair, but he did, when at one point, as Prime Minister of Britain, acknowledge in a very profound way the wrong that was done, and the Queen herself acknowledged the wrong that this film that we're to see represents. So as I say, in remembering, let's not ignore any of the facts. The facts are appalling. It was a catastrophe that shaped Ireland. The good that comes out of it is obviously that we are now a global Irish nation. Irish people went everywhere. They came to Canada and the east coast of America, and as Kathy says, here in Philadelphia, 17% of the population in the census identify as Irish American because they came on these boats in flight from this wrong. So it's a very proud thing to remember that this is what unites us, this moment, this pivotal moment.